When I was at university, I worked for a short time as a nanny, until the passenger arrived. That's what I call him. He scared Evan. It wasn't right to stay. Also, it's easier to pretend there is no passenger now. He scares me too. My employer's son, Evan, was 2. He had recently learned to distinguish and label men versus women. And he would accurately point at men and announce, "man." He was adorable, and I enjoyed watching him grow into the little guy he was becoming. But like I said, that job didn't last. Evan had plenty of energy. I loved getting us out of the house. I took him to the zoo, library, botanical gardens, and the park often. One day at the park, as we sat in the grass, Evan looked toward the tree line, which was about 100 yards from where we sat. He asked, "Who's that man?" Following his curious gaze, I saw no one, just the peaceful stand of trees that bordered the field we sat on. "What man?" I asked, watching his face. He pointed and emphatically and almost impatiently said, "That man over there." I scanned the tree line carefully and searched for a figure, seeing no one. I waited for some movement that might give away the position of the man, but there appeared to be no one near the edge or within the trees. Evan was certain. I asked him what the man was wearing. He responded, "All black." Unnerved, I gathered Evan to me and we left. As I hurried to the car, I never saw any sign of a man in all black or otherwise near the trees. I felt silly for getting freaked out and told myself Evan may have mistaken shapes of shadows for a person. A few days later, I took Evan to the botanical gardens downtown. I parked along the street, and while I was paying the meter, he asked again, "Who's that man?" as he pointed down the sidewalk. A couple walked a dog. A lady hustled back to the office after her lunch break. "That man is walking his sweet dog," I said. "No, the dark man," said Evan, not taking his eyes off someone down the block that I could not discern. I said, "I don't know, babe. Maybe someone out for a walk." As I turned to head into our destination, he whispered, "He's looking at you." As the days passed, the question became a recurring refrain, each utterance sending a shiver down my spine. "Who's that man?" Evan would ask, his innocent voice tinged with curiosity and a hint of fear. I began to answer light-heartedly, as if I could see what he was seeing. Just a man out for a walk. The toddler's innocent question about the mysterious man became increasingly unsettling. Each time he mentioned the presence, it felt as if an icy hand tightened around my heart. And each time, I would glance around, searching for any sign of the mysterious figure he claimed to see. I began to desperately hope I'd see someone I could make real. But there was nothing, just the rustle of leaves and the distant hum of city life. I wanted to dismiss it as the whimsy of a child's imagination, the product of an overactive mind fueled by fairy tales and make-believe. But as the weeks wore on and the question persisted, accompanied by a series of unsettling incidents, my unease grew. It started with small things. My keys or glasses disappearing, only to turn up in unlikely places. My houseplants began to wither. Whenever I prepared food, I would burn myself on a pan or accidentally cut myself. I kept stubbing my toes, banging knees and elbows on walls and furniture. It was as if I lost my sense of self in space. I brushed them off as absent-minded lapses, the natural byproduct of a busy life filled with the demands of being a nanny. I must have put my glasses down here. I must have forgotten to water the plants. Can one become clumsy out of the blue? But as the occurrences multiplied, their randomness taking on a sinister edge, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. Desperate for answers, I turned to the one person I thought might be able to help. A local medium rumoured to possess a connection to the spirit world. With trepidation gnawing at my insides, I made my way to the dimly lit storefront tucked away on a quiet side street. The medium, a woman with piercing eyes and a voice like velvet, greeted me with a knowing smile. Not wanting to give too much information, I asked her if she could see anything about the masculine energy in my life. The medium's gaze held steady, her expression unreadable. She reached out a hand, resting it gently on my trembling shoulder. "I sense a presence," she murmured, her words carrying a weight that sent a shiver down my spine. A dark energy lurking just beyond the veil. He watches, he waits, biding his time until the moment is right. My blood ran cold. I had hoped for reassurance or escape, a pleasant and positive reading that would banish my fears. But the medium's words only confirmed what I had long suspected, that my struggle against the unseen was not a figment of a child's imagination. "Moment is right for what?" I pleaded. She explained he sought to feed on my negative energy, my fears, my pain. Haunted by the spectre of the unknown, I returned home, my mind awash with fear and uncertainty. I tried to push aside the medium's warning, to convince myself that it was nothing more than a ploy to exploit my vulnerability. But deep down, I knew the truth. There was something lurking in the shadows, something malevolent and hungry for my soul. As the days turned into weeks, my world began to unravel. Sleep became a distant memory, replaced by fitful dreams haunted by whispered voices and grasping hands. I grew irritable and withdrawn, snapping at friends and loved ones with a ferocity that surprised even me. And through it all, Evan's innocent questions continued, each one a dagger to my already fragile psyche. "Who's that man?" he would ask, his voice barely more than a whisper. "He's getting closer." I would force a smile, my heart pounding in my chest as I struggled to maintain the facade of normalcy. But inside I was crumbling, my sanity slipping through my fingers like grains of sand. Then, one fateful afternoon, as Evan and I made our way through the park, the inevitable finally happened. Evan tugged on my hand, his eyes wide with terror as he pointed towards the empty space behind me. Then, he cast his eyes down and refused to look in my direction again. A chill swept through my veins as I felt a presence looming behind me, unseen yet unmistakably real. "He's here," he whispered, his voice trembling with fear. "That bad man. He's on you. On your back."